Though we have gotten starter Pokemon for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we have not gotten our legendary mascots just yet, and we likely won't be getting them for a few months now. So this is probably going to be the first time in Pokemon history where we get our box art mascots months after the actual starter reveal. And to be honest, despite all the footage we've seen, we still don't really know all too much about what these legendary Pokemon could be like. What kind of animals they could be, their themes, what the themes of the game are to reflect on their designs, their types, it's all pretty vague. Even the name Scarlet and Violet doesn't tell us much, whereas names such as Sun and Moon did give us some hints in the past. So that's why in today's video, I'm going to be taking a complete shot in the dark as to what these new legendary Pokemon may be like from the little sprinkles and hints that we already have. Which, yes, it does include oranges and grapes. And just coming up with legendary mascots for fun. Do I expect to be right with these calls? Nah, not at all. But hey, it would be cool if I was. So let's come up with some designs. You know what else is legendary? The sponsor of today's video, the greatest mobile game of all time, Raid Shadow Legends, with over 600 incredible champions with unique abilities from unique factions. Raid Shadow Legends just keeps getting better and better. While orcs may get a bad rep throughout the fantasy genre, they're not all that bad in Raid. Orcs were created by the Dark Lord Cyroth, and they have a really good reason not to like humans. After a brutal war fought by the Bannerlords, High Elves, and Sacred Order, their lands were annexed, forcing most of the orc clans to become nomadic. So now, they're just trying to survive. Just trying to live. Seeing an ally in Queen Ava of the Elves, they've now joined her cause. But even then, they don't know her true motivations. But trust me, it gets crazier, so you definitely want to check it out and play through it for yourself. Here, we got some orcs to show off, and I gotta say, I do love these designs. Each orc's personality and tribe really pops off and is apparent in their design. First up, we got Bal the Destroyer. Now this guy is sick. He doesn't look like someone you want to mess with. Next, we got Tila Gormain. Shout out to the ladies over here, Raid cares about their women. And we also do have Grohak the Bloodied. Man, do I even need to say anything about this guy? His name alone makes him sound like a threat. Going over an entire faction of characters, we have the Dark Elves here, and of course we have Queen Ava herself with an incredible design. We got the Warden and Fang Clerk coming in with a drip, and of course we cannot forget about Madame Cerise. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click the link in the description down below or scan the QR code here on screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Tyrell, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. And on top of all this, Raid is free on both desktop and mobile. So what are you waiting for? All this treasure will be waiting for you here in Raid Shadow Legends. First things first, before I show you the designs of the new legendary Pokemon that we've created, I need to go over the themes that I try to incorporate in their design. As I mentioned earlier, the themes of oranges and grapes will be taken quite literally and incorporated into the legendary Pokemon's design. Now, I don't think or know what oranges and grapes could mean symbolically. They both seem to symbolize fertility in certain cultures, but besides that, I'm kinda at a loss. But because there are emblems with oranges and grapes on them, and because Scarlet and Violet seem to have 2 different trainer schools or trainer designs, I think we'll have 2 different factions or maybe even 2 different royalties that you side with depending on the version that you choose. As royalty may be involved, we also know that time travel will most likely be a thing in this game, so I'm thinking possibly having 2 forms for each of the box art mascots, a primal and modern day form, and one of their forms could look more humanoid to show royalty and give more meaning to the symbols. I also think that the theme of past versus future or nature versus science will come into play. Furthermore, I think based off of the trailer, a big theme and possibly the overall theme in this game is going to be exploration. Exploration of different lands, time periods, cultures, and all. And in a way, this ties in with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet being our first ever open world Pokemon games. We also have the possible tie-in to ultraviolet and infrared rays being a part of these Pokemon or these games. And I'm including all that in here as well. All these themes that I just mentioned will play one part or another into these Pokemon designs. But one thing I have absolutely no clue of are what kind of animals these Pokemon will be based off of. For that, my artist Brasto Region or Amalri and I just took two animals that we thought made sense and rolled with it, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So, getting into the legendaries, I first want to show off both of their humanoid forms first. I would consider these to be the weaker forms between the two sets, but that's also up for debate because I can also see these as future designs of these Pokemon. And if Scarlet focuses on the past and Violet focuses on the future, then it doesn't make sense for this form to be weaker. But maybe it can be a more defensive design, and the other form can be more of an offensive design. But regardless, here we have Empyregal and Equilop's humanoid forms. Modern day forms? We'll call them royal forms for now. Let's start off by taking a look at Empyregal and what she's like. I say she because she's supposed to have a queen-like design. Most probably, since she's a legendary Pokemon, she would be genderless, but a feminine genderless legendary, similar to Lunala. Empyregal will be a fire and grass type Pokemon. I know, finally, a fire and grass type Pokemon after all these years. Why not make it a legendary box art and our first ever grass type legendary on a box art? Fire was chosen as the primary type simply because the color of Scarlet and fire often go together. The fire elements are very obvious to see on her design with the fire on her head and flame dress. But do you notice anything else that's funny about her dress? That's right, it's made out of orange slices, which is where Empyregal gets her grass typing from. I told you, I'd be taking the orange concept literally and turning it into a Pokemon. But honestly, as a dress, orange slices work out surprisingly well. Don't try it at home though, ladies. To take the orange concept a bit further on her arms, we have designs similar to what would be the inside of an orange as well. The green fingertips and legs are simply there for aesthetics to highlight the grass typing a bit more, and I think it adds to the design quite nicely. Moving up, her overall chest plate is just kinda generic, but the simplicity adds to the beauty in my opinion. And finally, her eyes are designed in such a way where she has infrared vision, which is why she doesn't have any pupils. Moving on to Equilop's royal form, he's designed to be more king-like, and of course, while he is supposed to be a male, he will most likely be genderless, similar to how Solgaleo is masculine but genderless. Equilop is actually poison steel type and not actually grass, but I'll talk about the grass typing later on. The poison typing from Equilop comes from the color violet. I decided to go for poison over dragon or psychic because those two typings have been used a lot for box art legendaries. Yeah, I could have went for ghost, I guess, but poison just doesn't get enough love. And this would be our first ever poison steel type as well. I made the grapes poisonous, you can say, so in a way the opposite of fertility, but wine coming from the grapes can be why it's a poison typing, which is why it's got grapes on its chest. It's got hair that I would say is super condensed, coiled up poison, and I'd like when it attacks for it to become something more gaseous, and that also adds to its poison typing. You can see Equilop looks very strong and very firm, and shiny. And that's where the steel typing comes from. The vines that he has going on his legs are also really shiny, so we can pass that off as steel. It also has visor-like eyes to show that it can see ultraviolet rays, which again will add to the exploration theme. But overall, his body structure is just very firm and solid. Not too many specifics to go into here, but we'll talk about him more in his primal form. Looking at both Empyregal and Equilop's royal forms, Brasto Region and I refrained from adding emblems or anything to the design, as we figured it was better that the emblems resembled the Pokemon or factions of the Pokemon than be a part of the legendary Pokemon itself. And by the way, I didn't give a proper shout out earlier, but yeah, Amalri did a fantastic job with these designs in such a short time. You gotta give a big shout out to him, as well as Hoops and Hip Hop, for getting these two to move the way that they do. A lot of their royal designs are kinda Transformer-like for two reasons. One is because we wanted the transition into the primal forms to feel natural, like it's a part of their design, so certain elements will be better seen then when we show them off. And another reason is because initially I had both royal forms be steel types, so fire steel and poison steel respectively. And then their primal forms would have been fire grass and poison grass. But I decided against that last minute. Let's finally take a look at their box art designs, the primal forms. As you can see, the grass subtyping will work for both of them quite well. But I thought having Equilop specifically go from poison steel to poison grass would be possibly nerfing the Pokemon a bit too much. So I decided to let them keep their typings of fire grass and poison steel respectively, so that they both have fantastic unique typings. They're both super effective against each other, with fire hitting steel and poison hitting grass. Oh, and because my starter evolutions on Friday may actually interfere with one of the typings, like that was another reason why we didn't go with those typings, but the past and future themes are very representative with Empirical and Ecolopes types. And poison can be symbolic of how with industrial and technological developments, we unfortunately end up poisoning the world. And with fire, it could represent how harsh nature can be if we don't keep ourselves protected to a degree from it. Fire hitting steel here would show how nature can still overwhelm technology, and poison hitting grass can show how technology can sometimes overwhelm nature. Empirical's design is super clean, and yes, its name simply comes from Imperial Eagle, which Brasto did indeed come up with. Now I chose the Imperial Eagle as the base design for this primal form because, well, Spain's national bird is the Imperial Eagle, so we want to have one of the legendaries with wings to emphasize the theme of exploration. And as this is Spain's national bird, we decided to go with this. And that's really all there is to that decision. I'm telling you, it was a complete shot in the dark. Looking at Empirical, you can see the fire from its body has moved to its tail. The green on its fingertips has moved to its wings, and the green on its feet are still there. Its overall body is filled with primal energy, which is why the red on its body is radiating that way, as well as its orange dress, which is now orange slices in its wings. The inside of the orange too, because you can see all the seeds are there. The orange slices also have the pattern on the part of the wings that's closer to the torso, and its eyes have a red glow again, showing the infrared part of its design. Ecolope's primal design shows you why its humanoid design looks the way it does. It's a horse! Just a random horse, not really based on anything specific. We picked a horse to represent royalty, and also because horses are used for exploration. And that's it. Again, not much to the animals. But I didn't think having a grape horse could be cool, but here we are! Its name also just comes from the word equine and gallop, and equine pretty much just means horse. But hey, it works out pretty well. Ecolope is strong and sturdy on all four legs, and its grapes are not only there on its chest, but you can say its dress has transformed and formed a bunch of grapes on its tail. Poisonous grapes, I'm sure. Having a bunch of grapes on the tail really works out well because, really, this is no different from having a cloud of poison gas as the tail. The grapevines on its legs have also grown, and it's also near its rear to make it look more elegant, and the ones near its face have also gone longer and come from its head to add to its majestic purple hair. The purple hue radiates in its body to show the primal form, and it's once again there in its eyes with the purple glow to show the ultraviolet part of its design. Now there is one thing I want to go over about both of them, and that's the triangle and circle symbolism, if you want to call it that. In the trailer, it's very evident that triangles have something to do with Scarlet and circles with Violet. Now I think Imperial's body shape kinda shows a triangle and Ecolope's grapes show circles, but that's obviously not the same for both of them. But we were already working with so many different elements for the designs that I just kinda kept this on the side, but still, I think we did good. As for battle properties, I think both royal forms will be defensive, especially defensive for Empirical and physically defensive for Ecolope. And I think for abilities, something like a defensive Moxie would work for both of them. Their primal forms would be the opposite. They would be fast and especially offensive, and physically offensive respectively. And they would just have Moxie-like abilities for special attack and physical attack again, but with different names. I also think this makes it so that Empirical is at its best in its primal form, and Ecolope is at its best in its royal form. So the Scarlet Legendary gets to thrive in nature, while the Violet Legendary gets to thrive in civilization, as Firegrass is a better offensive type, while Poison Steel is a better defensive type, with an air balloon of course. I think an in-game item similar to the Reveal Glass can change these Pokemon's forms outside of battle, and then in battle, you can only have access to the form you previously chose. I think that's everything I need to go over for these legendary Pokemon, but let me know what kind of legendary Pokemon you expect to see in these games. I know most people aren't actually expecting an orange and great legendary Pokemon, but with designs and concepts like these, I think it can definitely happen. Thanks for watching, guys. This was a ton of fun to make. Once again, shout out to Brasto for the art and Hoops for the animations. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all over on the next video, alright? Later.